Imagine waking up to discover that your president authorized a military raid on another country without telling Congress, without a declaration of war, and without most Americans even knowing it was coming. Well, that's exactly what happened this weekend. Over 150 aircraft, special forces, a pre-dawn assault, and now a foreign leader sits in a New York jail cell. This isn't a movie plot. This is January 2025, and the implications are staggering. Let's get the key players straight. First, there's Nicolás Maduro, Venezuela's authoritarian president, who's been in power since 2013. He's been indicted by the US on drug trafficking and narco-terrorism charges, accused of flooding America with cocaine while his people starve. Then there's President Donald Trump, who just ordered what he's calling Operation Absolute Resolve, a massive military operation to capture Maduro and his wife, Cilia Flores. We also have the Venezuelan people caught in the middle of this chaos. Many hope Edmundo Gonzalez, who opposition leader Maria Corina Machado claims legitimately won their 2024 election, would become their leader. Instead, Trump installed Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who immediately called his actions barbarity. And finally, there's Congress, your elected representatives, who found out about this operation the same way you did, by watching the news. Here's what went down. Early Saturday morning, January 4th, 2025, over 150 U.S. military aircraft launched from 20 different air bases. Special operations forces stormed Maduro's compound in Venezuela in a meticulously planned raid that had been in the works for months. They captured Maduro and his wife, flew them to Guantanamo Bay, and then transferred them to federal custody in New York. Maduro now faces charges that could put him away for life. But Trump didn't stop there. He declared that the United States would now run Venezuela. He swore in Delcy Rodriguez as the new president, even though she's part of Maduro's own regime, and even though she publicly condemned the operation. Meanwhile, the Venezuelan opposition, the people who've been fighting for democracy, are furious. They wanted Edmundo Gonzalez, their legitimately elected leader, to take power. Instead, they got another Maduro loyalist installed by foreign forces. No congressional approval, no declaration of war, no national debate, just action. So why did this happen? The official reason: Maduro's a drug lord who's been poisoning American communities. The Trump administration argues this was a law enforcement operation to bring a narco-terrorist to justice, similar to the operation against Manuel Noriega in Panama back in 1989. But there's more to it. Venezuela sits on the world's largest proven oil reserves. It's been a geopolitical thorn in America's side for decades, cozying up to Russia, China, and millions of Venezuelan refugees have fled to neighboring countries, with hundreds of thousands entering the United States. Trump's supporters argue he's finally doing what previous administrations were too weak to do, removing a dictator who's caused immense suffering and directly threatened American interests. His critics see something else entirely: an unauthorized act of war, a violation of international law, and a dangerous precedent that gives any president unchecked power to invade sovereign nations without congressional oversight. Let's break down what this really means. Legally, this is a constitutional crisis. Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress, not the president, the power to declare war. Yes, presidents have broad authority as commander-in-chief, but launching a full-scale invasion of another country without congressional notification crosses a line that many legal scholars say is unconstitutional. Geopolitically, this sends shockwaves worldwide. If the United States can unilaterally invade Venezuela to arrest its leader, what stops other powerful nations from doing the same? China could justify actions in Taiwan. Russia could point to this as precedent for Ukraine. We've just torn up decades of international norms. Domestically, Americans are divided. Some see Trump as decisively protecting U.S. interests. Others see an aspiring authoritarian bypassing democratic checks and balances. The fact that Trump installed a Maduro loyalist instead of the opposition's chosen leader raises serious questions about whether this was really about democracy at all. And practically, what happens next? Does the U.S. now occupy Venezuela? Who actually governs? Delcy Rodriguez clearly doesn't want the job Trump gave her. The opposition feels betrayed. The Venezuelan people, who've suffered under Maduro for years, now face an uncertain future with American forces in their country. This could either end a humanitarian crisis or start something far worse. So what should happen now? First, Congress needs to reassert its constitutional authority. Whether you support this operation or not, allowing any president to wage war without congressional approval sets a dangerous precedent. Immediate hearings, full transparency, and clear legal boundaries are essential. Second, the international community needs a coordinated response. UN, OAS, and regional partners